Hey guys, it's Norm.
And Adam.
And we are back in The Cave.
The Cave!
The Cave is undergoing some reconstruction. You might have seen on episodes of Still Untitled that you had shelves put in
Yes.
while we're recording the podcast, and they're almost set up.
But they are almost set up. It's a long and ongoing process. I have filled the shop with 13 Billy bookcases from IKEA. The Billy is the inexpensive way into a glass front cabinet.
Yeah.
I think the case is like $120, and then the doors are a little bit extra. You buy them one at a time. And I have added a modification of actually adding LED lighting, strip lighting. Don't buy these at a store. At a store, they're about $10 a foot. On Amazon, it's $1 a foot.
Wow.
So you'll save
Much cheaper.
90% of the expense by going on Amazon.
It's tough to compete.
Yeah.
And free shipping, of course.
Yes, exactly.
But we're here to talk about what's in the shelves, and behind us on this particular shelf is a collection of props, replicas that you've made.
Well, yes, replicas and actual props. So, yeah, I never know what kind of movie I'm going to latch onto. I never know what sort of prop is going to jump out at me as something I really, really want.
You don't know, as in like when you're watching a movie, you don't know if that's going to resonate like 5 years later.
Yeah, and there might be movies with tons of cool props in them, like Chronicles of Riddick, that I don't care at all about.
You don't want those glasses. No.
I have no interest whatsoever. But when the Bourne Identity came out, which I think is 2004, 2003?
It's early 2000s,
yeah. I got really into Jason Bourne. I love the idea of the go bag. Now, this actually has a predecessor, which is the movie Spartan. It's a lesser-known David Mamet film starring Val Kilmer, and it's phenomenal. I can't recommend Spartan enough.
All right.
And in Spartan, if you watch the DVD extra materials, Val Kilmer is kind of like a stand-up comedian when he does the commentary. But he talks about how they had a couple of Special Forces consultants on the film. He plays a Special Forces commander on a mission in Spartan. And he has a little bag, and he calls it his go bag. And he said he had all the things in there that a Special Forces guy would need. And I love obviously, I'm a toolkit fanatic. I love the idea of you have everything you need in one place.
Right. Most of us have our emergency ration stuff, the water and some Band-Aids. These guys have cash and guns.
Well, and so actually I met, on Mythbusters, we did a sniper special with an incredible marksman, Dave Lewinog, who did some tours and actually had a go bag. He wasn't able to tell me some of the things that were in it because it's not for civilian knowledge. He did say it was whatever you needed to get from wherever you were to any single point on the planet within 36 hours and be able to survive there. And so it's not simply an over-the-shoulder thing. You might need all sorts of different gear, weather, and stuff. And I've always found that process, that concept really, really exciting. And so in the Bourne Identity, at the beginning of the movie, he wakes up, he's kind of getting his memory back.
He has that chip.
He has a chip in his hip, and he goes, he figures out that it's a bank in Zurich, and he goes to the bank, and he opens up this bank box.
Right, safe deposit box.
A safe deposit box, and in it is all of this stuff, all of these passports and money and stuff that obviously from his former identity, he's still trying to piece it together. Yeah. But I love the idea that this is like a secret stash that allows you to be anyone and do anything. It's enough money and identities to escape to anywhere. So he dumps it all into a burn bag, which is, I guess, for documents in a bank. Anything you want to get rid of, you put in a burn bag and they take it and they incinerate it, so the record's totally gone. So I actually looked into making a burn bag from the Bourne Identity, and I never got around to it because I didn't have enough reference. Sometimes if I can't get enough precise reference, I'm not even interested in starting. And then I came across a guy who had one of the actual burn bags. I think they made 3 for the film. So this bag right here.
Wow. Along with the trash bin.
This is the trash bin from the bank in Zurich, and this is the burn bag from the bank sequence. So when Bourne gets accosted by one of the security guys, red bag, on the ground, this is that red bag.
Holy crap. So this is actual movie prop.
This is an actual movie prop.
And you built then the replicas to fill the bag.
Well, and so I didn't so much build as assemble, but we could take a tour through the replicas. This is one of my favorite props. I really love, I really enjoy that I've got one of these. And I will tell you that there is a thing in the prop collecting community that some people, and I don't understand them, they like buying a movie prop of which there's only one, and then they like hiding it away from the world so that no one can see it. They actually kind of get off on having the only one of something. That doesn't make any sense to me. I have something like this. I want to share it. So actually, a fellow prop fabricator I know named Indy Magnoli out of Australia, I actually gave him all the reference material, fabric samples, sizes, grommets, measurements, and he's actually producing some bags like this. Of course, I'll always have the original, but if other people want one, I want them to have one.
Awesome. Sweet. So let's take a look at what goes in the bag.
All right.
All right, Adam, you have all these prop replicas on the table.
Yep.
This one's actual prop.
The actual bag.
And let's start with just the money, because there's a lot of money here.
Okay, so I frequent a forum, as we've talked about before, the Replica Prop Forum. And I had some screenshots. There's a lot of very close-up camera shots of the bag and its contents in the film. When he's in the bank, he takes off the cover of the safety deposit box, and the camera sort of languorously pans over all the contents. So I started putting up screenshots of those contents on the RPF, and then we started working through what was there. So for instance, the RPF is an international forum. There are people in every country in the world. And this was actually just before, this film takes place just before the euro came into being.
So this money, a lot of money is obsolete.
Most of this money is obsolete. But we were able to, with the help of a lot of international members, identify, oh, those are reals, those are Saudi Arabian money, these are kroner, these are Deutschmarks, etc. And so I was able to find references. In fact, actually, now that most of this money is discontinued, it's very easy to find high quality scans of it because it's not usable as money anymore. I also solved one legal problem by not printing anything on the back. I don't want any trouble from any organizations about counterfeiting. I just want it to look great. And
so you just printed, you downloaded high-res copies. Cut them out and created the band.
Exactly. And each one of these bands, I don't think they're standard. I think they were all made by the art department of the film. So I had to kind of color match each one. I did have an advantage. Having worked in the film industry, I did have a bunch of fake $100 bills. These are movie $100 bills.
Real funny money.
Real funny money. These is in the movies when you see people handle $100 bills, these are them, and it says for motion picture use only, not not legal tender, etc. And I had a bunch of those. I also had and I reach out to prop makers for stuff like this. I had a guy who makes money for the movies make me these British pounds.
Custom make them for you.
Well, this is a design he made for a film, and so I bought a bunch of stacks of them. And his technique is actually great. He takes what looks like a real British pound. So this is a copy of a real British pound, and I didn't print the back. And he comes up with a design that looks enough like it for a film.
Yeah, there's the right elements. You have the queen on the right side.
But there's no way that it could be confused with the real thing.
It's good enough for American audiences. We can't tell the difference.
Exactly. So in that, I figured out each of the types of money that were in the bag and the amounts of each kind of stack.
So there's a lot of counting.
I made tons and tons of lists. I just find this very entertaining to do on a plane. So there, each of the shots, I figure out how many of each one. And then I assembled it. So the money was one of the first challenges. The second challenge was the passports. And in fact, I reached out to each of these passports is a Jason Bourne actual passport under the different names that he has in the film.
Real passports?
These are not real passports at all. These are actually film passports. Again, it says clearly these are fake passports. These are for film use only. They're exact replicas of Jason Bourne's passports. They all have stamps. In fact, actually, yes, the guy who made these for me went so far as to posit where Bourne might have gone and places in the course of the film. I'm not kidding. This is how crazy this gets. Visas for different countries that he's talked about.
He was in Hong Kong in '97, and wow,
absolutely. So I've got 5 of the passports here. Then there is the. Every one of these has a story about how hard it was to find. I bought a pretty nice replica of a Tag Heuer Tag Heuer Link. That is the type of watch that Bourne uses in the film, and it's. Tag and Omega, they all do many different designs of every watch. So it's very hard to find a replica of exactly the dial arrangement. I had to looked through hundreds to find the one that I wanted. I wasn't going to spend the money on a real tag just for this bag.
You get a counterfeit watch, that's fine.
Then there are things like this. Like
what
this
is that?
This is actually a keychain. But at first, when I saw it, I thought it was one of those cord holders.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Tighten.
Like for camping equipment. Yeah. So I went looking for that and I couldn't find it. Then someone on the RPF said they recognized it because they had gotten it as a gift at an office. And it turns out to be a keychain made by a company to give out as gifts in an office.
Why was that in the go bag?
You know, just the art director's looking for things that look technical, that look kind of cool. A Mac hasp dongle. In the film, actually, on the Blu-ray, you're able to zoom in and see it actually read Mac hasp on the back of this.
So this is the right model.
The exact right model
dongle.
And color, translucent blue. As I go deeper, you're going to think I'm crazier and crazier, but this is deeply satisfying. This is a really weird, cheapo multi-tool that looks kind of cool with rulers on it. Turned out to be one of the easiest things to find. Someone came up with it in about a day or two, and it was like 14 bucks. These contact lens cases, bought 3 of these. This Uniball, of which you can see 3 in the bag, I ended up with 4.
Sure, it looks like something, you'd buy at Target.
A standard Uniball, except that this happens to be a discontinued Uniball.
Even pens.
Even pens
models.
turn out to be difficult to find. And in this, one member of the RPF's wife was a teacher. And look, when people come upon the Uniball that they like, they buy a lot of them.
Of course.
So he had a bunch and he traded this to me for a couple of other items. And then there is this is quite visible in the film. It turns out to be a French phone card.
SIM card, yeah.
I replicated this, and actually I'll show you my replica of it. I've replicated it by, we actually were able to locate the original photo of Notre Dame and use it to make a fake card. Yes, the stock photo. And then someone found
the real one, and that is pretty good. So
this is my replica before I ever saw this in person. And this is the real thing. I did pretty darn well.
Yeah.
I will say that it turns out people collect phone cards of landmarks of everything. So you can find these on eBay from time to time. And over the years, I've managed to find 2. I also have again, made by someone who makes this for the movies. And on the back it says, not for real use, not a real credit card. But I have these Jason Bourne credit cards that match the ones.
Jason Bourne right there.
Yep. Now, I have somewhere a black card, an American Express black card, which isn't in the movie, but I figured Bourne would, of course, have a black card. And then there's this, which turns out to be very hard to find, this Air France 2000. This is like an elite flying membership club card. It's very, very difficult to find this. So this is my recreation of it. That's basically graphics that I printed, then I laminated, then I cut out in the shape of the credit card. It's not perfect. I'd like a better one. If someone out there has one, I'll trade you for it.
And then here, this is something that you couldn't find a perfect replica of, so you made yourself.
So there are obviously, he had these contact lens cases, and the implication is that he could change the color of his eyes for different passports. I couldn't find the Elegance soft colored contacts in the original packaging. It's very difficult. They change this every year. So this is my Photoshop reconstruction on a different brand of contact lens case.
Taped it on.
And they're spot on.
Yeah.
And then lastly, second to last, there's a French medical card, which you can see in there. I don't know what's in one of these, so I don't have anything in it, but that's my Photoshop file of the front and back of this. And I found, when you're trying to find reference for stuff like this, I see the name of it on the screenshot, so I start doing searches for that.
Exercise in Google, yeah.
Well, then I start doing searches for it on Flickr, which isn't indexed on Google, and that's where I hit pay dirt a lot of the time. Then there's one final piece of identification that you can see in the film, which is this, which is a French driver's license. Now, in all of my Google foo, I have not been able to figure out what the hell size a French driver's license is.
There's no photo of someone holding it in their hand or in the wallet.
I've found people holding it in their hand, but honestly, this is about the variance you could figure out from this. So I painstakingly replicated the French driver's license down to the ID picture, which is laminated, the stamps of the vehicles he'd be allowed to drive, the anti-counterfeiting lines on this as all my design, to kind of match what it might look like. And then I printed up in these 2 different sizes because,
just in case.
Again, if someone out there knows exactly how big a French driver's license is, please send it to us at tested.com so I can know, then I'll print it out for real.
And of course,
and of course, this is the other. Oh, sorry. There's several other things.
You have the SIG.
This is actually a real stunt SIG from the movie. This is got a certificate of authenticity. It's from the Bourne Identity. So whenever you see someone running with a gun, whenever you see someone doing anything with a gun in a movie that they're not actually shooting, it's a rubber gun.
Non-working.
Guns are heavy. They weigh like 3 or 4 pounds. You can get hurt, and they're expensive. You don't want to drop them. When people are throwing guns to each other all the time in the movies, no one ever really does that. So these are rubber guns. You can see this one. This one actually, it bends and it's
really
squeaky. So this is one of the stunt pistols made for the movie. The other thing you see in the movie a bunch are faxes from Interpol. So this is an Interpol fax of looking for Jason and his girlfriend, played by Franca Potente. That's my Photoshop reconstruction of it, even down to the fax ID across the top. And then there are 2 very detailed faxes that you can see in several points in the movie. I did them in both color and black and white because you can see both versions in the film depending on which portion of the film it's happening in.
So your obsession with the film went beyond the go bag.
Well,
once there are more details to pick out.
It's not an obsession with the film per se. It's more of just, it's again, the figuring out of each of these details is like a bit of meditation for me. I'm just sitting there and like zoning in and going to find something. It's a treasure hunt. And it's about the hunt, not about the object itself. But it is very satisfying for me to have pretty much, I'm missing 1 pen from the bag, and there's a pocket knife in the Bourne Identity that it looks like a green Swiss Army knife, but it's not quite.
Doesn't have the logo.
It doesn't have the Victorinox logo or Wenger, and it's a slightly different color green, but I've never been able to figure out what it is. So this is as close as I can get. I'm 2 objects away from perfection.
So technically still a work in progress.
I guess so.
And of course some gold bullion.
Well, this gold bullion is actually, these are replicas, obviously. Purchased on eBay of 1 kilo of 999.9 gold. These are not visible in the movie. They're probably not in his bag, but I thought
it'd be
if
cool.
you really had to get everywhere, you'd have something like this.
Where would we be able to use this? Maybe in the black market.
We carve off a little bit and put it onto a scale.
Okay.
I don't. If it's real gold, it's going to be mighty soft. You could probably bend this with your fingers.
Yeah.
So this is my assumption of something that would be in there, and it goes out of canon, as it were. But I thought it should be there.
Took a little bit of liberties.
I also have a really nice replica of the shot of Jason and his girlfriend. This I purchased a vintage Air France ticket thing. At some point in my research, I came across a ticket jacket like this. So I purchased this to go in the case as well. Sometimes I drift out of canon just because I think that it deserves to have this, and that's me thinking like an art director.
Very cool. So that's Jason Bourne's go bag.
Absolutely.
What would you put in your go bag?
Well, I don't think I'd have anything that hurt people in it. I'd have a Leatherman. I don't go anywhere without a flashlight. I use it like 20 times a day.
Strong laser.
Yeah, you know what? We'll have to do a segment about what I'm always carrying on my person, because it is a very specific set of objects that I use for survival.
Very cool. Thank you, Adam.
Absolutely.
And we'll have more from the shelves in the cave, a future edition of Inside the Man Cave.
Absolutely. Red bag on the ground.